All right, so baby boy is having an amazing time with dad. So you're liable to hear him, but we're just gonna keep pushing, okay? So capitalism does a really good job at convoluting things and making us think that we need a lot more than we actually need. And the fact that not all baby products that are being sold have gone through a rigorous experiment to make sure that they're safe for our babies still blows my mind. How do you sleep at night knowing that you have not confirmed that the products that you are selling are okay for baby and infants to use? Profits over safety happening in the baby industry is sick, to say the least, like full stop. More than that, what you actually need for your baby is pretty simple. So, today we're going to simplify the baby registry and go over the categories of what you actually need for your new baby and a few nice to haves. If you're new here, my name is Sarah. I'm a postpartum planner helping women blossom into the version of themselves motherhood calls for. And more importantly, I am reframing my motherhood and I'm bringing all the information that I learned along the way to you. So grab a cup of something good for you and let's get into it. So, babies are biologically hardwired to be in close proximity to you or to their primary caregiver. The US society forces us to think that babies can be independent early on and quickly. That is a myth. You cannot spoil your baby by holding them. That is what they need. And for the people who think that by responding to their babies, they'll then make their babies have an expectation that they'll be there, to them, I say, yeah, they should. I'm a whole ass adult, and I expect that my spouse, my best friend, or whoever I need in my corner will come running if I need them. Yes, it looks different as we get older. We learn to self soothe, we learn to self regulate, but fresh out the womb, we need and yearn for our primary caregivers. And that's okay. So, if you notice that there aren't a lot of things that you can put your baby in, and it's because biologically, newborns are using you to co-regulate. That's where that skin to skin concept came from. Newborns need to be co-regulating with their primary caregivers as often as possible. And that is again why the lack of nationally mandated parental leave in the US is so frustrating to me, because babies are often missing out on such a vital part of their developing nervous systems. But that's another conversation. And if you want to hear more about how the US is failing moms but not having federally mandated leave, check out the video that is going to pop up somewhere on your screen. Okay, so we're gonna get into the list of must haves. Okay, the first thing we should talk about is the car seat. The car seat is a requirement in order to leave the birthing facility with your baby. And it's likely going to be one of your largest purchases. So it makes sense to talk about it first. Most of how we travel in the US is via a car. So you need a car seat to get to and from the places that you're going with your baby. And I think you need a stroller for the same reason. We don't have a lot of walkable cities here. And even if we did, I think it'd be easier if you were using a stroller to move around with your baby. So I recommend getting a car seat and a stroller, and preferably a travel system that comes from the same company so that you don't have to worry about getting adapters. Whether it's disposable, cloth, or somewhere in between, the majority of our society isn't doing like a total elimination communication. So even if you were to choose that route, most people don't have a village large enough or available enough to bypass a diaper system altogether. So you're going to need a diaper system. So choose your style, whether you want disposable or you want cloth, or a hybrid in between, and then figure out what brand you want to use. I tried out 9 different diaper brands before I settled on the one that we wanted to use. So in the very beginning, I just bought a whole bunch of newborn options and just kept trying them to decide which one I felt the most comfortable using, and that's what we carried on with. All right, you're gonna need a changing surface. I live in a townhome, so I knew that I wasn't going to be going up and down the stairs to change my baby. So I bought 2 mobile changing pads and waterproof covers for them. And I got 2 caddies on sale that sit right next to them so I can move them from room to room on whatever floor I'm in. But I know a lot of people across the spectrum. I know people who don't have anything at all and they'll use the bed or a sheet on the floor or whatever clean surface they can find. And then I know people who do have like a specific location. They've got the changing table, and that's where they actually go every time they need to change their baby. So go with what works and consider having something that is at least waterproof so you can minimize your workload. But yeah, go with what actually makes sense for you. Don't think, oh, because they sell this, I need it. No, what works for you? Check in with yourself and know, like, are you really going to be going back to one location? Is that what you crave? Or do you want more mobility so you could change wherever you are? And let that lead what you end up buying for changing your baby. All right, you're going to need a skincare and scalp system. So you're going to need a gentle soap to bathe, a gentle cream, or oils to hydrate your baby's skin. You'll need washcloth, towels, and because baby nails are so aggressive, I'm going to add a nail buffer or a nail clipper to reduce the amount of scratches that will show up like on their faces and their ears. You'll need a sleep system. Whether or not you are planning to co-sleep, I do think you'll need a place to like put your baby safely. Like for example, in the middle of the night, if you need to go use the bathroom. So I think you should consider researching for a bassinet, a crib, or a floor bed if you're doing Montessori. If you decide to get a crib or a bassinet, consider buying one made by a company in your country so that you know that the manufacturer had to go through some sort of rigorous experiments to ensure that it is safe before introducing their item into the marketplace. You'll need a feeding system. So if you're nursing, you got everything you need already. But to make life a little easier, you can get nursing bras so it's easily accessible. You can get a few loose t-shirts so you could, again, easily to get there to feed your baby. A nursing pillow, I think those are useful, so that might be something you want to consider as well. If you don't want to buy nipple cream, you can use Vaseline, but you have to remember to wipe it off before you start nursing. You could use washcloths to place on whenever you need like a DIY heating pad. So you don't need to go and like actually purchase something. You could use a washcloth, you put it under hot water, you place it on. It does the same thing if ever you're feeling engorged. Most insurances offer a free pumping machine if you decide to do that. If you do get a pumping machine, I recommend getting a pumping bra so that you can actually do other things while you're pumping. If you are bottle feeding, you need bottles, formula, and a cleaning system. Personal opinion, but in the beginning, you really just need onesies and sleepers. Consider getting those double-sided zippers where you don't have to take off their clothes to change your diapers. You could just unzip the bottom part in order to change a diaper. And when you're unzipping, make sure you're lifting it up so you're not snagging their skin. And consider getting clothes that are made of like natural fabric, like 100% cotton, to minimize irritation on their skin. An aspirator. So newborns exclusively breathe through their noses for the first 3 to 4 months of life, except when they're crying. So nasal congestion can cause significant breathing difficulties. And if they're forced to breathe through their mouths, they can't eat at the same time. So they get very tired, and it ends up being this vicious cycle of trying to eat and sleep and breathe. And so to avoid all of that, having an aspirator on your registry is helpful because it's one of those things that you would rather have and not need than not have and need. We only used it once during our baby's newborn stage, and we mostly use like nasal drops, but it's still important, in my opinion, to have an aspirator just in case. Now we're going to talk about the nice to haves. If you choose to do cloth diapers, I recommend getting something that is made to handle that type of cleaning, like the brand I'm going to pop up on the screen. But overall, all you need is something that is gentle. I actually recommend using apps like Yuka or Healthy Living by EWG to check products like detergents before purchasing. Again, because babies are biologically wired to be with you, a baby carrier meets their need of proximity, but also frees up your hands to do other stuff. I was gifted a carrier that could also back carry, but I didn't think about trying it until way after I was able to. And I wish I started sooner. It opened up a whole new level of independence for me without compromising the fact that my baby wanted to stay close to me. It was a game changer. If you are open to trying a baby carrier, I don't think you'll regret it. We invested in one of the most talked about high chairs, only for my baby to quickly learn how to remove the straps and climb out of it. He prefers to sit on me to eat, so my lap is the high chair, but we're enticing him with allowing him to self-eat in the high chair now, so we're slowly trying to get him back to using it. If you need to step away, getting a camera will give you the peace of mind to do so. I opted for a non-Wi-Fi camera because I didn't want to risk the camera getting hacked. But I love having a camera because it allows me to leave the room and get stuff done without having to feel like I have to run up every few seconds to check in on him. For the first few months, you're going to want to do tummy time. And so you'll want something safe to place your baby on the floor. Floor play helps babies with building their muscle strength, coordination, and sensory development, which is all the stuff that they need to start learning how to like roll and sit and crawl and eventually walk. So floor time is super important. For the recliner, I wasn't a believer of the recliner at first, but I'm so glad we got it because it came in so clutch, okay? It is honestly one of my favorite purchases. It became super convenient and it gave us like another option for nursing baby, for giving him a bottle, for having a location that someone could sit in the room and I could just pass baby over to them after I finished nursing. And the rocking was super useful. Being able to recline was super useful. All in all, I see the benefits of having a recliner, but I will just say make sure it's comfortable. Like a lot of recliners are sold for the aesthetics, but what you genuinely want is something that you can sit in for hours at a time if you have to and feel like your joints are supported. I talked about this earlier because I talked about having like a diaper caddy in my diaper system, but I think a diaper caddy is super convenient because you have everything all at once. I especially like the ones for rolling, especially in the first few weeks postpartum, so that you don't have to do a lot of back and forth and you can just bring it wherever you go. I recommend a car mirror if you're not able to sit in the back with your newborn or you just don't want to. Then the car mirror allows you to have a peace of mind because you can just quickly glance at your baby and just make sure that they're good. Again, I opted to not get a car camera. I preferred a car mirror and books. So TJ Maxx, Marshalls, Ross all have really good affordable children's books. There's also like secondhand bookstores. You can also rent books from your local library. I know that from my library, we can rent books for up to 3 weeks at a time and drop them off at any library in the county, which is super convenient. And I know that there's an initiative to, it's like a 1,000 books before kindergarten, where they're encouraging parents to read at least 1,000 books to their kids before kindergarten. And one of the ways to get on that is to start reading as early as possible. So I think starting a library is super helpful as well. So those are my thoughts about what you need for a minimalist baby registry. Let me know in the comments if you think I left anything out. And I know that I didn't want this to be brand focused, so I kept it really general on purpose. But I also understand that it can feel overwhelming to know where to start when there's so much on the market. So if you want to learn about what I ended up buying and whether or not I would recommend it, check out this video.